Okay, everyone, we're ready to go. I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for joining us today. Bishop will begin by reading a statement to you. I would note, as he will note, that many of you were with us 1 year ago today in this very room when Bishop was announced as the 9th Bishop of Springfield. And oh, what a difference a year makes. So he's here today with the much anticipated decision on the new Pope Francis High School. Bishop.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here today, and thank you for those who are joining us in our live stream. What a difference a year does make. It was just 12 months ago on this very day that I was introduced to Western Massachusetts as the 9th Bishop of Springfield. Today, I come to you with exciting news on how we plan to continue the rich and the valued tradition of Catholic education for generations to come here in Western Massachusetts. Our theme is a simple one. One community, one mission, one in Christ. What we begin now is not limited to one new high school. Rather, it will be a far-reaching plan on how we will sustain Catholic education here in the Diocese of Springfield. So let me start by telling you what today's announcement is not. Today's announcement is not about winners and losers, as much as some have tried to frame this important matter. No, today is only about winners, about our young people, both now and hopefully well into the future, who will benefit from the steps we are about to undertake. A year ago, when I was introduced as your bishop, I was asked my thoughts on Catholic education. My message then is my message now, that Catholic education remains an important part of the mission of the Church. Yet, our Catholic schools face many challenges for which we need to develop new models and new thinking if they are to continue. For even if that terrible tornado had not visited upon our region, both of these beloved schools were facing real questions of sustainability. So today is also not about band-aiding a situation, but rather embarking on a path which opens the door for future generations of students. In setting a course on this new and exciting chapter, I'm reminded of last Sunday's message from the sacred scripture, St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians. And he wrote to them, "We walk by faith, not by sight." How true! For what we undertake is done with faith and with hope. Ironically, however, from a tragic event came the opportunity, the possibility, for us to think with a new, fresh vision and to plan with new insights for the future. I do acknowledge, and I know, that many have grown impatient with the process. But these 4 years have not been wasted. First, we fought for and we achieved and received a fair and just settlement from our insurance carriers. Then, we worked in cooperation with Congressman Neal, Mayor Dominic Sarno, and FEMA to help guarantee that adequate resources were available to continue our mission of Catholic education. In just the last 8 months alone, we have met with hundreds of stakeholders, heard from countless others, and established a plan to merge Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic high schools, started to align them for a smooth transition, explored countless diocesan, parish, and commercial sites, began the process of creating a new governance model and leadership structure, and are investigating some cooperative opportunities for the two student bodies starting in this next academic year. With assistance from Mr. Tom Bernicki and Partners in Mission, we have established a new development, marketing, and recruitment team to hit the ground running on July the 1st. In fact, they have already begun as of today, and there is a new website and a number of social media platforms for Pope Francis High School. I can honestly tell you, I have no regrets, no second thoughts on the time that we have spent. For we had this one opportunity, this one chance to set out our course on a path to success. So let me first offer my thanks in a special way to Monsignor John Bazzani and the Student Advisory Committee, many who are here with us today. They undertook the tasks given to them with serious and with thoughtful determination. Many could learn from the manner in which you, these students, have worked together with a single focus on the future. And I cannot thank you all enough. Thank you so much. We know that their work already resulted in sending me a short list of potential new school names from which Pope Francis High School was chosen. I would ask them now to unveil the new school's mascot, which they themselves had come up with. The Pope Francis Cardinals with primary school colors which will be red, gray, white, and gold. The white and gold representing Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic respectively. The red and gray representing the new dominant school colors. After a well-deserved summer break, we'll have these students back to work continuing to plan for the new Pope Francis High School. Thank you again, dear students. And now the site. Let me start by saying I believe either of these sites would have worked and would have worked quite well. I can say with confidence that because the academic program we intend to develop and offer at Pope Francis High School will be second to none, we are bringing the best of two great high schools together. Because the two final sites were equal in so many ways, it was indeed a difficult decision to make, one which I have prayed over and have given much thought. As you can imagine, I received many letters and emails. I spoke to countless people as I traveled about our diocese these past months, and I heard the thoughts of the Transitional Advisory Committee, folk who are with us here today, and who as a group have provided me with great insights. In the end, the opinions I received from near and far were almost equally divided. So I had no choice but to heed St. Paul's words from last Sunday, to walk by faith. After much thought, prayer, and consideration, I have decided to pursue construction of the new Pope Francis High School on Surrey Road in Springfield. Again, there were few substantial differences between each site under final consideration. The factor tipping the scales was that the Surrey Road site came to us as owned by the diocese. So with a limited budget and a strong desire to establish an endowment fund to offer tuition relief, and again, given how equally matched these sites were, the Surrey Road parcel had a slight but important advantage. While I am concerned that this site is not as centrally located as many wanted, I do believe that issue can be addressed through a strategic transportation plan. In fact, whatever site we had chosen, we would have required such a plan. Of course, this decision is contingent upon acquiring all necessary permits and FEMA approvals. And let me be clear, I will hold the city and the neighborhood to their pledge of total cooperation. To the question many ask on why we went through this process to arrive on Surrey Road, I would say again, we had one chance to get this right, and so it was important that we explore all options, especially as it now involved Holyoke Catholic. If we had found an ideal centrally located larger site, then buying land would have been a worthwhile investment. But this just wasn't the case. I'm also pleased to confirm that CBT Architects will design the new school based on input from the faculty and the staff, as well as members of the Transitional Advisory Committee. We anticipate the opening of this new school in 2018. In the end, for this school to reach its full potential and to be successful, we must pledge, all of us, to set aside our differences on the one matter of site, the distance between which was measured in just a few short miles, and instead keep our eyes focused on the future and the exciting opportunity that is within our grasp. To alumni from both schools, I urge you to resist that natural tendency of thinking that your school has died. No, in fact, these two great traditions are giving birth to something new and exciting. The legacies of Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic high schools will not disappear, but rather they will provide us with a strong foundation to build upon. We need your commitment to Catholic education now more than ever. The time for excuses is over. Finally, I am most grateful to Dr. Paul Gagliarducci, who has been leading the charge. Paul has graciously agreed to continue on and act as interim executive director, overseeing the continued planning until the new school is built and operational. Paul, you have been a steady hand throughout this process, and we are all blessed by your continued guidance and leadership, and your commitment to building a first-class Catholic secondary school. I ask Paul now to say a few words, and then we will take some questions.
Let me first start by thanking Bishop for inviting me to be part of this process. It has been a joy to do this. There have been some days where I questioned whether I should have, but I will tell you that what really drives me from a personal level are two things. First, my family has been part of the Springfield Diocese for over 115 years, and that's part of my drive. I also want to tell you that when I went to the closet this morning to pick out what I was going to wear, I decided I would do an honor to the students that's standing on either side of me. So I wore the new school colors. They have been really a motivational factor for all of us. When they first came together, they just knew what to do. And we look forward to working with them. 4 of them will leave us, and we'll bring on 4 new students next year, but we have a lot of work to do in the coming months. So it's been a real pleasure for me to be part of this. We have great hopes for this new school, and I thank the people who I have worked with so far, and I really look forward to the months ahead. It's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to build a school from the ground up, and not many people get a chance to do that. I mentioned this to the faculties of both schools on last Friday, it's a unique experience, and I thank the bishop for giving all of us that opportunity. Thank you.
Now, if there are any questions?
Do you know what the estimated cost will be for building the new school? And you indicated that one of the main reasons you chose this for a website was the fact that you own it, right? So what would the cost difference be if you had to acquire the land from Chicopee?
Well, we were probably looking at a cost acquiring of $2 to $4 million for land in Chicopee. But we were also considering the fact that in order to make this school successful, we need an endowment for tuition so that tuition could be affordable for our Catholic families. So that was a big factor in choosing the Surrey Road site. Right?
Bishop, you had mentioned that one of the concerns about the Surrey Road site was the accessibility, and that you're going to be focusing in on a specific transportation plan. Can you elaborate a little for those people who might be considering the new Pope Francis High School, who live in other communities outside Springfield, who might be a little concerned about, am I going to be able to get there easily enough, how long it's going to take me to get there, et cetera, et cetera?
Certainly. As we looked into all of the factors, there were prime considerations, one of which was transportation. So the Transitional Advisory Committee has taken on the task to work with Dr. Gagliarducci to look for hubs of transportation where we can have buses to bring students into the school. I must say that any of the sites that we looked at in one form or another did have those same concerns of accessibility. I mean, we're looking at a fairly built-up area in which we live. There's consideration of how much acreage is needed for a quality high school, along with the fields and with parking and all of that. So we needed to look at accessibility as well as the parcels of land that were available, and we tried and put in all of those factors as we looked at the different sites.
Bishop, will the new high school take up the current complete footprint of the Surrey Road property that you have?
No, it will not. I will let Paul answer that question.
The rendering that you see here is a building built for 450 to 500 students, is estimated at 126,000 square feet. The current, the older building on Surrey Road that's no longer there was in the neighborhood of 275,000 square feet. So with a smaller footprint, we're going to be able to utilize the space that's available for our athletic fields. Initially, we're talking about a softball field, baseball field, a composite turf field with a track and a small stadium, and then 2 practice fields, and a tennis courts and parking. So we are looking to work with the architects to see how all that fits. We do have a schematic of what that might look like. We don't have that available this morning, but we think we can get all that on the Surrey Road site. And we thought we could, as Bishop said, we had it plotted for the memorial site as well.
Bishop, could you elaborate a little bit on the endowment fund for families who are interested in sending their children?
Certainly. In Catholic education today, we know that the sisters who taught in our schools in years past, and the sisters who taught me when I was going through elementary and high school, they don't have the number to staff our schools. When the sisters staffed our schools, tuition was either minimal or non-existent. Really, their labor was given out of love for God and motivation for love of God's people, particularly for our children. So in order to have a quality faculty at the school, we certainly need to pay just and equitable salaries. And this endowment will help us to do that, to pay good salaries to our teachers, fair salaries to our teachers, but also to make it affordable to our students. So there's no Catholic higher education institution that does not seek to have some sort of endowment particularly geared toward tuition assistance. And I think that that's a key for Pope Francis High School.
I think it was either you or Paul who referenced the fact that students are going to be doing some activities together, working towards becoming one school and one location. When are they actually going to start able to use the name? Are they going to start calling themselves Pope Francis High School? When is that going to happen?
Okay, Paul, since you've worked with the team, let me ask you.
The two schools will complete this year as Cathedral and Holyoke Catholic, but we will begin to increasingly use the name Pope Francis, and we will begin to refer to the sites either by their location as either the Chicopee site or the Wilbraham site, or possibly even the east site and the west site. So beginning in the goal is that in the fall of 2016, we become Pope Francis High School under one umbrella with two sites, two campuses, better to say, two campuses. And so that's what we'll be doing, and we'll be working progressively in an incremental way throughout this current year, upcoming year, to move us to 2016. Now, we also know that we'll have students who have started their high school careers at Holyoke Catholic or at Cathedral. So we're going to do a little research, because we're not the only time in the country where two Catholic high schools have merged. So there's different ways to play on the diploma. But if you have a child who is going to start high school in 2016, that student, when he or she finishes their 4 years of high school, they'll be the first ones to get a clean Pope Francis diploma. So when I say clean, I've heard a number of different ways that the two names can be played together, and a lot will have to do. We'll be speaking with these students and asking them what they think, and we'll be talking. They'll be talking to their friends, and so we'll get a sense. We'll also hopefully be talking to some parents as well throughout this year and years ahead, and to sort of figure all that out.
Yes.
In the new school, kind of incorporating the traditions or the heritage of each of the schools that this new school is going out of?
Thank you for raising that question, because I can heartily say yes. From the very beginning, there was talk of having heritage halls in tribute to Holyoke Catholic and to Cathedral High Schools in the new building, because that's part of our history, that's part of our heritage, that's what we're building on. And we cannot forget those great traditions as we move on ahead. Thank you. If there are no other questions, let me take this opportunity to thank you as the members of the press for your presence and for being here, for also covering yesterday the great encyclical that Pope Francis had issued, and for all of your presence and in covering all of this. Thank you, and God bless you.
We've sent to your newsrooms, and those of you who are on the email, the artwork electronically. So you should have that, including a site survey, which we weren't able to have on display here.
I was hoping that we would be able to come together as two groups of students to really become one and really kind of be a part of something that's so exciting. We all care about Catholic education, we all care about community, we all care about coming together, and this is exactly what happened.
Once I told Mom I was coming home for Father's Day, she said, "Oh,
What about the actual site? The actual site.
So I do.
I'm not quite familiar with what he was saying